Hey guys, it's Michael Joe with the Vintage Trading Post. It is February 7th. A lot of stuff going on in the MTG community. I'm sure a lot of you guys know. Um, it's about that time to make a new video about the market, so that's what I'm going to do. I apologize, it's real sunny today over by me. Cold. I think the high is 0 today, so in the great Chicagoland area. But anyway, um, so everyone wants to know what's going on with the economy of MTG. Well, again, I focus on graded MTG, but it kind of relates to all of MTG. Um, this is another perfect storm like we saw in 2016 through the beginning of 2018. Let me give you guys some of the factors that I think are behind all this, um, if you would, this perfect storm, if you would. We have a pandemic going on. I'm sure every single one of you guys know that. I'm not trying to be Captain Obvious, but I think that people that are suffering in this pandemic, not so much people that are sick, but just all of us that are trapped inside the house, I think that we're getting some more spending money because we have less expenses. We're not going out to eat once, twice a week. We're not, taking the kids out to the movies and stuff like that. I think that that's causing us to have some extra money, and that's kind of what's going into the MTG community. The stimulus packages, I think people are like, well, I want to invest this money, so they're starting to go into MTG, graded MTG, whatever. There's also the stock market theories, and here's the thing: it's not even a theory. There's no direct correlation. We'll use Bitcoin because everyone talks about Bitcoin to the magic uh, financial world, but there is a little bit. Okay, Bitcoin obviously is going up, and I think a lot of investors make their money and they want to go into something that's physical, if you would. So they invest in collectibles, not just MTG, but we're seeing it with Pokemon. We're seeing it with the sports card world, the comic industry. I mean, guys, it's not just MTG. Investors with the stock market, specifically like Bitcoin, are coming into the collectible world like they did back in 2016 and 2017. I don't have any hard data to prove this, but if you guys pay attention, I'm sure you guys would agree with me. You're also seeing the little stock bubbles, if you would. Couple over the last couple weeks now, you've seen the whole GameStop stock market bubble, whatever you want to call it. Some people made a lot of money. Now they don't want to hold into the stock market. Some people fear that a recession, stock market crash is coming, whatever. So what are they doing? They're taking their money out and they're investing it into MTG. Okay. Me personally, I think it's a safe investment if you're going to hold on to it for a while. MTG is not something that you could invest in and buy stuff and then flip it a week later. I mean, you can, but eventually you're going to get your hand caught in the cookie jar. And we'll get into all that in a little bit. So, as I'm reading this, I got kind of notes because I want to talk about a couple different things that are brought up. Um, the graded community. Well, let's talk about the graded community. It's growing, guys. There's more players turning into collectors. There's more collectors turning into investors. Now, both the collectors and the investors, they're hoarding stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, I hoard stuff. There's a lot of nice 9.5 and 10s out there that are being hoarded up by the old school collectors. New collectors come in, they want to buy some of this stuff. They got that new money that's coming in from their websites, from stock markets, like we just discussed, extra spending money, whatnot, and they're either willing to pay that extra money or they're buying other stuff, Silver Age stuff, and that's causing Silver Age to go up. But we'll get into that too. Um, let's talk about the grading card companies. I'm sorry, the grading companies in general. The fees are going up. PSA, BGS, even CGC. The fees are going to go up if they haven't already. That's going to continue. Why are the fees going up? Well, because they're overworked. I know a lot of you guys are upset. You guys bash these companies pretty bad. Texas had strict pandemic rules, guys. They couldn't have all the graders working there. This cut their workflow down. Now I know. I'm so sick of hearing this. Well, this was going on prior to it. Listen, I've been grading for a while, and I could tell you that all my orders that I was paying for 20-day service or whatnot, they were being shipped out, guys. Everything was on time prior to the pandemic. Now everything got backed up. I'm not trying to take any grading company's side over my fellow collector's side, but it's not all their fault, guys. They're trying their best. It's backed up. That's all there is. But what are these backups doing? Well, they're creating a shortage in the current stock of 9.5s, just graded cars in general. Now all of a sudden the market's dried up. You're not finding these newly graded 9.5s that everyone wants, whether it's vintage, golden vintage, or silver age. You're just not seeing it. So everything that I just discussed, guys, those are some of the factors that I picked up on. So what does all these factors cause? Well, FOMO, the fear of missing out. I think a lot of people are afraid, holy cow, I'm gonna miss. I gotta start getting stuff. Oh my god, here's my wallet, here's my password to my IRAs. Just let me buy magic. Well, that's cool and all, but with the shortages, the backlogs from the grading companies, there isn't much to buy, so that's causing the values of everything that's out there up. There's guys that hoarded certain cards that are like, well, I'll sell them for the right price, and people are willing to give them that right price. So the seller's happy, the buyer's happy, and it's creating that circle, if you would. The FOMO is also causing a lot of other things. The reserve list, the buyouts. I can't control this. I'm not a fan of these buyouts, but they are happening. And I think certain cards are going up in value, specifically from the reserve list. Dual lands in general. If you guys have paid attention to revised, dual lands are just insane right now. And that's just revised. Unlimited dual lands are slowly going up. Beta are slowly going up. Alpha, if you can find them, they're up. Reserve list stuff does move up, guys. It's pretty safe right now. You're starting to see Commander, the game of Commander. There's nobody that can argue with me and say Commander isn't causing certain spikes with certain cards, because it is. People playing Commander decks want certain vintage cards and Silver Age cards, and they're going out and buying it, and it's causing that price to keep going up. So in general, what all this does is it's causing the sealed product to go up. If you guys have paid attention to sealed product, I'm not a huge fan of sealed product. Talked about it before. Not persuading anybody or trying to change anybody's mind on it. It's just not for me. I have my own personal reasons, but if you look at the sealed market right now, and I pay attention to it, we'll use dark as an example. If you guys have noticed the price on dark boxes, they've gone up significantly. I'm a huge dark fan. I love dark, but the cost of a booster box, sealed booster box, is just insane right now. Pack values go up, obviously, because of it, and it trickles down. Individual cards go up, the 9s and 9.5s go up, everything goes up. And eventually they start skyrocketing, which that's what we're seeing. Well, what about the people that can't afford the golden age vintage stuff? Well, they're buying the silver stuff. They're buying Exodus and Tempest and Mirage. I mean, the values of all these sealed booster packs are just insane right now to me. The sales, as the sales keep going up, the individual prices keep going up. I mean, silver's hot. There's no doubt that we can't say that silver's hot. Not to sound like pompous, but I did say that this was going to happen. I never saw it going as high as it's going right now, because it's pretty fire right now, guys. It is going to come down. To all you guys out there that are like, no, Mike, I don't want to hear this. It is. It's not going to stay at this rate. It'll survive this spike. And it'll come back down. But the good news for you guys is, like all this stuff, it'll come back down to normal, because this isn't normal. This is way up there. But the question for you guys is, what is normal? Because I'll tell you this much, the new normal won't be the old normal. It'll be much higher. So that's a good thing for all you guys. And that goes throughout MTG in general. That's kind of the whole reason for this video, is to tell you we're in the middle of a spike. I personally think the spike is going to keep going up for a couple more months. I think end of spring, beginning of summer, you're going to see it taper off. You're going to see prices dropping again. But it's not going to be anything significant where it's like, oh, this card was up 400%, and now it's only up 200%. Guys, it's up 200%. The increase in these spikes are insane. I think the people that are going to hurt with all this, well, I'll get into that in a minute. Let me get back on topic because I'm trailing off. I'm like an old man here. Um, so, with the lack of new 9.5s from the graders coming out, the rise in grader fees, the seal product going up very quickly, the individual reserve list buyouts and the spikes, this causes more FOMO. And now you're starting to see nine selling. Sets with higher print runs are going up in value. So, like Unlimited Revised, they're going up in value quite significantly. That's going to taper off. Um, I think we're slowly going to see it. We're seeing it with Unlimited now, I think. You're going to see it with Revised. It's going to taper off. Alpha's Alpha. I can't say anything negative about Alpha. It's holding its value. It's not going up as significantly as Unlimited or Revised in terms of increase of percentage. I've talked about that before. That was going to happen. I think the new thing that's going to happen is you're going to see sets like Beta, for example. Beta is that middle child that doesn't really get much attention. Its big brother Alpha went through the roof a couple of years ago. Now you're seeing Unlimited and Revised as little brothers going and growing. Beta's going to explode, guys. It's going to happen. A lot of those who've been around the game for a while remember that at one point Beta was worth a whole lot more than Alpha because Alpha couldn't be played. I'm not saying it's ever going to take over Alpha because it's not, but it is going to catch back up. The print run ratio and to the values are going to catch back up. And right now it's out of whack. And for those who are investing out there, I'm sure a lot of you guys see that. I talk to you guys on and off daily sometimes. You guys are very smart. You guys know what's going on with it. So I think that new sets are going to take over the more affordable route. You're going to start seeing more modern stuff selling. And what I mean by that is, it used to be Four Horsemen, Alpha, Alpha Beta Unlimited. That was like everyone wanted to collect it. And then I started talking about silver, and of course it became true. Now people are talking from 4th edition through Mercadian. That stuff is selling. You're going to start seeing new stuff like World Wake and stuff. That stuff's going to start getting big too. I think what all this is doing also is it's making some collectors just say, you know what, I'm not going to pay the higher graded fees. I'm not going to be waiting all this time. I'm not buying sealed product, hoping to find that one card that's mint and will grade 9.5 and again go through the fees and everything. They're just paying the premium on the 9.5 that's already graded. I think all that is causing this spike right now. So let's talk about the history of MTG in terms of financing. Well, I've read so much on the bubble. I talked about the bubble before. For those of you guys that talk about bubble, I'm so sick of hearing it. It's all BS to me. This has to be the longest bubble in the history of any commodity or collectible. I mean, think about it. I've been hearing about the bubble since the mid-90s. Spikes go up, they go down, they retrace. I mean, it's just what it does. That's economics. Just like supply versus demand. Obviously, when the demand is so strong and the supply is weak, everything goes up. It's basic economics. But as far as this bubble, I mean, guys, stop. So you guys want to hold off and wait for the bubble to pop, knock yourself out. You guys are going to be waiting a long time. I've had a friend that was like that, and he's done. He's given up. He said, okay, I should have bought in when you told me to. Well, that's an expensive lesson to learn. So, if you guys look through the history of MTG and values and whatnot, got an old duel list back here. I actually looked through the first Scry magazine. I got that. Started going through the years of values, and it's funny to me because cards spike, and I'm not saying this about all cards, guys, but certain cards go up for different reasons, whether they're being played, like Commander uses certain cards, so those values spike, and then they go back down because then they get phased out, and somebody figures out a way around it, whatever. But I'm talking about in general, um, you'll see cards that are going to go through the spike. They're going to go up. They're going to go up, we'll say 100%, and they're going to come down about 50%. Now, they're still 50% higher than what they originally were, and that's going to be the new norm, as we were talking about earlier. You're going to see that with a lot of cards, guys, especially in the graded community, and especially with vintage, Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, and the Four Horsemen. That's going to happen. You're going to see the new norm. Library of Alexandria, anything from Arabian, you're starting to see it now. It's going to trail off into antiquities, legends. Dark is a good example. I told you guys a couple years ago, Dark's a fun set to collect. The centering is terrible on it, as any of you who collect it know. Sealed packs don't mean anything because some of them are damaged, some of them are just, you can see a box that's just off center printed. It's hard to find 9.5 in Dark, especially in sealed boxes. But this is the stuff that's going up in price. So I want to talk about another thing I've heard to a lot of people bad mouthing just the bubble. You know, they're saying that it's a bubble, or you know, the game's going away. Let's talk about that. The game is dying. I've heard that. Well, it's not. And even if it does die, stuff's going to keep going up in value. I don't care if the game dies. I mean, I do, but I don't think that if the game does die, the values are going to just plummet like some people say. I mean, you look at sports cards, that's not even a game. I mean, the sports card world, it's interesting, you know, the tobacco cards. I mean, to me, that's what I compare alpha and beta to, are those tobacco cards, the T whatever cards. I think that the Four Horsemen and Unlimited is a lot like your 50s cards, you know, your 52 Mickey Mantle, if you would, and those who collect sports cards know the analogy I'm using here. I think you got Revise now. Revise is like your 60s cards, and everything else is going up. Past that, I apologize here. I'm just going through my notes. I want to make sure I cover everything here. Everything's going to go up, continue to go up in value. There'll be spikes, there'll be retraces. I mean, it's just, but if you look at the chart, it's just going up over the last 25 years. So I don't see how that's going to change. That's just my personal belief. I just don't see that changing. The game's not going to die. In fact, once the pandemic is done, I think the game is going to come very strong. It's going to bring all new players, new collectors. I have seen that the graded community is continuing to grow. I've seen a lot of players over the last 8 months now turning into collectors. Guys that used to play with their vintage are grading it. No matter what the grade is, they just want it graded. And you know what? That's not a bad thing. The graded community is growing. So let's talk about the global recession. Okay. Well, if you go through the history of MTG, and I've been around for a long time, guys, MTG does very well during recessions. It's been proven through statistics and through values, previous values. If you look up, you know, archives and stuff, it's always done pretty well during a recession. So I don't think we're going to have to worry about that. You're not going to have so many people buying stuff when a recession hits, and you know, that's a different topic in itself, whether we're going to a recession or not. I can't comment one way or another, or at least I'm not going to share my views. This spike is strong right now. Again, I think it's going to go on for a couple more months. I think end of spring, beginning of summer, it's going to taper off. You're going to start seeing that new norms. I think the only people that are going to hurt are flippers. That's what I'm calling them. People that buy stuff and want to sell it the next day for 50%. I've witnessed somebody buy a card, BGS 9.5, won't mention the card, paid $700 on eBay, and the next day they had it up for $12.50. I mean, those are the guys that are going to get their hand caught in the cookie jar. Because one day everything will slow down, and you know, they'll be lucky to get their money back on what they paid for it. So flippers are going to end up getting caught sooner or later. Just part of the game. And it's like that in anything. Comic book industry, sports card industry, Pokemon. I mean, they're here. Everyone flips. Everyone tries to make money, and I get that. I respect it even, but that's the dangerous line you guys play. I think anyone that wants to get in needs to keep their cards for a little bit and just realize that this is an investment too. And if they're collecting to collect, well, then they should be holding on to it either way. This is not something you want to buy and in 6 months be like, oh man, I made 300%, time to sell out, because that might not happen, guys. So I've talked about the factors behind this, the perfect storm. I've tried to touch on everything as to why I think these values are where they are today. I kind of gave you my prediction of where they're going to be over the next couple months. Hopefully by then I'll have a new video. But I think right now, I think we're in the middle of the spike. I still think that there's still some more room to grow on certain cards, and you will see it over the next couple weeks to a couple months. Vintage is not going away. It's going to keep going up, and nothing's going to change that. All the naysayers out there, sorry guys, it's just not going to happen. Silver Age is, what I prophesize, it's going up, and it's going to continue. Not at the increases we're seeing right now, and eventually it is going to come back down a little bit, but the norms won't be the same that they were. The cradles, anything from the Urza's block, I mean, all that stuff, guys, I hate to say it, now is the time to get that stuff. And if you guys wait, I think that you're going to lose out. For anybody that's like, again, this is to the naysayers with the bubble and stuff. Guys, buy in now. Stop pretending that there's a bubble, because it's not. Buy in now, because 5 years from now, you guys are going to be sitting here complaining to me, oh, there's a bubble, and there's not. And you're going to be wishing you would have bought 5 years earlier, or you'll have a new generation of people that are complaining about it. Just not going to happen. If you talk to anybody that's waited for the bubble to pop, they're going to tell you they've been waiting years and years, and they probably are going to tell you the truth, that it's just, okay, you're right, it's not a bubble. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, you guys know how to get a hold of me. A lot of people reaching out to me about other stuff going on in the MTG community. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Reach out to me. I like the BS about MTG all the time. It's definitely a very interesting market right now. I think it's going to be that way for a little bit. I know I'm very redundant right now, guys, but I'm very excited. In my previous videos, I used the group of cards I put together in Echo MTG, and I was lazy. I didn't feel like putting it all into this video, but it's gone up dramatically in the last 4 months. November through February now, November of 20 to February 21. I've seen a huge increase, and that's just raw value. That's not graded card value. All the cards I have in that I own in BGS 9.5 basic or better. So the value increases even more, in my opinion. And I think anyone that collects graded cards would agree that 9.5 is worth a lot more than near mint value. So anyway, guys, keep going and doing what you guys do. Use caution when you're buying cards. Don't buy stuff that is really out of price. You know what? I mean, here's the thing. Even if you do see something that's super, super priced, but you want it, you know what? I contradict myself. Maybe buy it, because I think 5 years from now, that price will be a good price. You know what I'm saying? And 2 years from now, that might be the price, the market price of it. So pick and choose what you want. But if you really want something, you may never see it again. I had a couple cards that I was chasing, and I thought they were too expensive, and I didn't buy them, and now I regret it, and the prices just keep going up, and they're getting further away from me, and probably never going to get them, and I'm okay with that. I'm content with what I have. So anyway, guys, till next time, reach me if you know how to do it. If you need to get a hold of me, reach out to me. We'll talk.